Hello, this is GS Paul again. Today we'll be discussing the skin and we'll be discussing the skin as a sense organ. Though we have talked about skin already under excretory system, there we took skin as an excretory organ. We'll be looking at the skin under two subheadings: the structure of the skin and its functions. And under function, it will be particularly the sense organ. Now, regarding the structure of the skin, to understand or to look at the structure of the skin, we cut a vertical section of the skin and put it under the microscope. And what appears here on this diagram, this is a vertical section of the skin under microscope. The structure of the skin can be studied under two headings. One is the skin is divided into three parts. The upper one is called the epidermis, the middle one is called the dermis, and the lowermost is called the hypodermis. Now, each part, the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis are equally important. The epidermis consists of many layers of cells which are gradually formed by a layer at the base called the basal or layer germinarium. This layer actually gives rise to these cells above this. Now, all the cells above the basal, layer germinarium, are sloughed off, gradually sloughed off from the body. The next layer is called the spinosum, the layer spinosum. Above this spinosum is layer granulosum. In the granulosum, there are certain grains, the particles which are responsible for imparting the color to the skin. And then there is the layer called the lucidium. The cells here become lucid, transparent, and having no structure. They are actually dead cells, and they are gradually thrown off as the coronium, the uppermost cells. These are sloughed off. Now, you will be astonished to know that all these cells are sloughed off in 240 days. And plenty of cells are produced by cell division in the germanium, in the lowermost layer. Now, this is epidermis. Epidermis is protective in function, and it protects the dermis, which is very sensitive. Now, looking at the dermis is actually 2/3 of the whole skin, and it has two important structures. One is the hair, structure of the hair, and the sweat gland. The hair is contained in a flask-like structure called the hair follicle. It's in the hair follicle that the hair comes out of the body. The base of the hair is called the hair root. The hair root is richly supplied with blood, and the nerves. That is, when the hair is plucked, you feel the pain, and that pain is because of that nerve, and a little blood, a small drop of blood might ooze out of the skin, out of the hair follicle. Now, each hair follicle is connected by a muscle called erector muscle. The erector muscle is the muscle which is responsible for making the hair erect. Depending upon the temperature, the hair will go erect, or certain other conditions we shall see under the function. Then the sweat gland is a gland which is sensitive to temperature and comes out of the skin through a sweat duct which opens to the outside at the surface of the skin through sweat pore. Now, in addition to this, there are sensory organs, there are sensory structures inside the dermis. One is nerve endings. These nerve endings are at the base of the epidermis, and they are sensitive to the pain. And then we have tactile organs. These tactile organs are sensitive to touch. If the body is touched like this, then these tactile organs are activated. In addition to this, there are nerves which supply these sense organs. I mean the nerve endings and the tactile organs. In addition to this, there is a large number of blood vessels, the venules and the arterioles. The arterioles send blood vessels into the main dermis and to the dermis. Now, in addition to this, at the base of the dermis, there are adipose tissue, the tissue, fat tissue, which is under the skin and makes this skin thick or thin, which is because of the adipose tissue. Now, regarding the function of the skin, if you remember, we have already discussed about skin under the excretory system. There we have seen this as an excretory organ, and we laid main emphasis on the sweat gland. Now, looking at the skin as a sensory organ, skin is sensitive or perceives the sensations of temperature, pressure, and pain, and touch. Now, the organs which are sensitive, the structures which are sensitive to pain are called the nerve endings. The structures which are sensitive to touch are called tactile organs, and the structures which are sensitive to temperature are the sweat glands. Now, all these structures which perceive the sensation of pain, touch, and temperature, these nerves convert this sensation into an electrical impulse. This electrical impulse from the skin passes through the nerve into the brain, and this electrical impulse then converts into the sensation of pain, touch, and temperature in the brain. The electrical impulse, as sensation is perceived, it is transformed into electrical impulse. The electrical impulse through the nerve goes to the brain, and it is in the brain that the electrical impulse is then transformed into the particular sensation, that is sensation of pain, temperature, and excuse me, I'm not well. The sensation, the idea is to make you understand that the impulses which are perceived by these nerves are transported to this brain, and this is the brain which converts these electrical impulses into particular senses. This is how the skin acts as a sensory organ. Thank you very much for today. We shall see the next lesson when we meet next. And by the way,